We're live here in Nourish, Heal, and Thrive. Thanks everybody for joining us. I have Sam here, and I'm really excited to hear his story and hear about what he has to offer here. It seems really cool. I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to let him present it to you. But Sam, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, Derek. Yeah. So, I just reached out to Derek on Facebook and now we're here.
Oh,
So I so we'll start from the absolute beginning.
yeah.
So I had a business partner back in COVID. His name was Michael. And Michael introduced me to the seven trends of 2020. Those were 5G, IoT, blockchain, cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, medical distrust, and predictive technology. So one of those being medical distrust, we launched a digital marketing company in 2021 for stem cell therapy. Well, fast forward 3 years, I learned how to code and applied the principles of Bitcoin to the holistic medicine industry. Because I read a book called Racketeering in Medicine, The Suppression of Alternatives by James P. Carter, that really highlighted, because, in those 3 years, we were barred from running Google ads for stem cell therapy companies. Well, little did we know that all of holistic medicine is barred in some way, shape, or form. Whether it's the energy healer or it's the chiropractor down the road, there's some sort of barring or just some sort of, I mean, you look up holistic medicine on YouTube, you can't find any videos that are this year that are a million views, even though holistic medicine is growing by 23 to 24% each year until 2030. So we know that people are interested in this industry. So that led to the birth of DecentMed. DecentMed is a holistic medicine information portal that connects patients with providers. So we decided, because more than just stem cell was barred by the FDA, and I don't want to go too far and talk about the cancer documentaries to get this taken down. So I'll just say that you can find those on decentmed.org/cancer, and I'll stop there as far as that. But when you look at acupuncture, chiropractic, functional nutrition, and holistic nutrition, um, hypnotherapy, homeopathy, naturopathy, empowerment coaching, mindset coaching, spiritual coaching, all joined the platform over the last year since the platform's been out, because they've seen the value of collectivism in this industry. And the reason why we're called Decent Med is that we post provider studies and information to validate the effectiveness of the work that they do. And we post it on a decentralized platform called Noster so that information cannot be taken down. So that's the platform in a nutshell. And now going a little deeper. So let's take a coach, right? Since Derek is a coach, let's take a mindset coach. So what we do is we create a page, a custom page, all coming from the providers and coaches. People don't care what I have to say about this industry. They care about what you have to say as the provider and the coach. So we create these custom pages highlighting the expertise of the provider and the coach. The second thing we do is, once we've highlighted that expertise, because video is king, we offer a video interview similar to this interview, highlighting the expertise of the coaches and the practitioners. After that, we post provider studies. And if you don't have any studies, then we post testimonials to validate the effectiveness of the work that coaches and providers do. And then, in whether you're a shopper or you're just looking for something, that's the research phase. Once that research phase has been established, now you say, okay, I want to work with Derek. Okay, so we have a telehealth directory depending on the industry. So for chiropractors and acupuncturists, that telehealth directory is location based. So you have to put in Boynton Beach, Florida, or Scottsdale, Arizona, or some area in the US to find that practitioner. But for a coach that can work anywhere, it's not location based, it's just remote. And that way they can have access to the coach. So he brought up Ingrita, and I did an interview with her, and I did a demo of the platform. And one element of the platform that's very interesting is that we have partnered with a CRM called Care Patreon, where, whether you accept insurance or not, Care Patreon has a lot of benefits. One is if you do accept insurance, it has soap notes, it has over 7,000 documents that you can use for templates that you can use for insurance or for billing and really for myriad of elements. The other thing that it does is it sets up an entire calendar and it lets you have a full Zoom setup, and it also pairs with Stripe so that you can pay the providers all within the CRM, and we teach providers how to use that CRM, or we can manage it for them. The final element of the project is that we have an apothecary with over 150 plants. For the last year and a half, I'm currently in Jersey visiting family, but I've been traveling the whole entire world. I was in Canada for a couple months. I was in Africa. I was in Europe. I was in South America, all documenting medicinal plants for our apothecary, all according to PFAF, so that, sorry about that, documenting all these medicinal plants so that we can um sorry, my dad's 70, he's a little senile, so he didn't know where to
But
go.
it's okay. Just keep going. It's been good.
you know so that people can find these plants. And then the biggest element of the plants is that we give stake to all providers and coaches on the platform so they can accept insurance, because in a lot of cases, like I mentioned earlier, providers and coaches don't accept insurance, so we want to create a model in which they can.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Yes, sir. So any questions?
Yeah, well, so this is you talked a lot about how this helps coaches, right? So how does this help the clients or the people that need these practitioners or these doctors or whatever, these medical experts?
Great question. And you're completely right. So, most people, especially in the US, they don't know anything about mindset coaching or acupuncture or chiropractic.
Right.
But what they do know is the condition that they have. For example, my mom has knee pain. She has the knees of an 80-year-old woman, and she's stubborn, but she has knee pain. Well, and she has very low collagen. So acupuncture can help with that. So she would research knee pain, and we would tailor that condition that she's searching for to the expertise of the provider. That way, the patient can find out information about these modalities without having to understand or know anything about these modalities. Because
Got it.
what I found is, like I brought up earlier, medical distrust is on the rise. But just because medical distrust is on the rise, they don't know the alternative. Semantics matter. The reason why for a long time it was called alternative medicine was that for a patient, they don't want to do alternative medicine because they're going to think that that's inferior medicine, right?
Yeah.
So we have rebranded it, and providers have rebranded it to holistic medicine because they look at the mind, body, and the spirit. One thing I found really interesting after speaking with the multiple providers is that a lot of them are actually, in the spiritual world. Our Ayurvedic practitioner, for example, she is a trained, um, not a priest, but what is it called? I guess, yeah, a priest, like a minister. She's a trained minister. We have another woman who is the energy healer that we're going to add, and she also is a minister. And our homeopath, that's from South Africa. On the onboarding form, he asks his patients, do you have a spiritual practice? And they don't do that because you have to be Christian or anything. They do that because they look at the mind, the body, and the spirit. They're looking at the entire picture. So for a patient, it's looking at it from an entire picture. And also, that's the thing about the interviews is that they can learn more from these providers so that the patient can say, okay, holistic medicine, I want to give that a try. I want to work with Dr. Nadia Taylor in Florida. I want to work with Lori Graham. I want to work with Stacey Theodosian because I understand the value of what they're talking about.
Right. Right. I mean, from my perspective, holistic medicine is healing from the inside out, whereas
Mm,
most, you go to the doctor and they just all they do is they look at the symptoms and they try to help you so you don't have those symptoms anymore.
exactly. It's funny you bring that up, right? So one that's really interesting that I've noticed is uterine fibroids.
Hmm.
So a lot more women, especially back in the day, 20 years ago, had uterine fibroids. And traditional medicine really was just you got to do surgery. But in that case, a lot of times you can't have children. Well, people look at energy healing and they think that it's woo woo, right?
Right.
So Stacey Theodosin, our Ayurvedic physician, she actually used energy healing on her uterine fibroids, and she has kids that are my age. I'm 29, and she has kids that are in her 20s, and she has another a daughter who's I think 15 or around that age. So it shows that energy healing does wonders for uterine fibroids. And you look at autism. Traditional medicine looks at autism, throws their hands in the air, and has no idea. They don't know where it came from. They don't know how to solve it. They kind of just look at it like, well, you just got to deal with it. Well, apply kinesiology, NAET. There's a lot of ways that holistic medicine is working on making strides when it comes to autism. You look at ADD. Well, homeopathy works to wean these children off of ADD medication and look at it as a behavioral thing. Because, again, like you brought up, they look at it from the inside out. In a lot of cases, like ADD, for example, well, typically it's children that come from broken homes, they come from, the loud environment. When you have ADD, you have ADHD, you have anything neurodivergent, typically you want music or you want something to get you kind of like your background, right? Get you in a peaceful environment. Well, what happens is when you look at a school is not peaceful. There's kids running around, there's people screaming, people throwing things. It's typically a room with 15 to 30 children, if not more, a little bit less, right? So what happens is these kids, they disassociate, and it's not that they're not focusing, it's that they're trying to find their happy place that they couldn't find while they're at home. And I think that traditional medicine doesn't look at these full scope when it comes to a lot of diseases and ailments.
Right. I agree with everything you're saying. Um, so if I'm watching this today and I have, a lot of the people in my group, they're here for, weight loss and other health issues, and they want to get better, right? So they go to, what is it, DecentMed,
Hmm.
and then, they go to the site and then they can just look for weight loss or they can look for whatever their health issue is. Talk a little
Well,
bit
so
about how the site works.
the way that the panel works is that I have tailored the primary condition, and I should probably add more, and I think I will add more, but typically it's the primary condition. So, for
Okay.
example, a nutritionist. So,
Yeah,
our nutritionist works in a myriad of ways, but really her focus is lowering your blood sugar.
I see.
But to your point, if we have the Prevent page, Prevent Wellness, where we have a practitioner. He's from UK. His name's John Craig, and he works exclusively with weight loss.
Okay.
So that would be how they can find them. So you can either find providers by looking at the education panel and finding the type of modality, or you can look at the conditions panel and find the type of condition that you're struggling with.
I see. Okay. Very cool. Yeah. Let me think. Do you have have any examples of people that you've helped through your site yet, or is it too new? Or talk about that a
Yeah,
little.
so we had a woman of color, African American woman, that told me that she needed chiropractic care, and she also needed nutrition. So she reached out to Lori Graham, and she was able to be helped. I think some examples is we had a case study of a woman that had trauma, and she had gut issues. She had pyrrole disorder. She had a myriad of ailments, and she went to Dr. Kristen Barnes, and Dr. Kristen Barnes helped her with those ailments by looking at her problem holistically, addressing the trauma, and now she's done really well as far as the gut issues. Another example is our hypnotherapist. We have a hypnotherapist on the platform, Sarah Green. Sarah Green did a study with about, I think it was 12 women that were nursing. and they couldn't pass their NCLEX exam, the nursing exam. And after utilizing subconscious reprogramming, they were able to pass their nursing exam within 6 weeks.
Awesome.
So as far
Awesome.
as individual people who
Yeah.
have, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, no, no. Go ahead.
Yeah, so as far as individual people who have been helped with going to the providers, I don't know any cases. I do know people are on the platform. We have about 1,000 a week. So people are looking at the platform actively and they're utilizing the services of the providers. But I haven't heard from the providers exact cases of exact instances.
Right. Right. Yeah, and that's another issue that most holistic practitioners have is we help people and then we never hear from them again.
Mhm.
So, but that's a good thing because that means they're getting what they need.
And that's why I'm so keen on studies. And I've had providers, like we have a nutrigenomics coach, and she said, "Oh, well, I could just do testimonials." And yes, you can, but she's working on a study for sleep right now because studies are very important because there's a lot of skeptics out there,
Sure.
right? My mom's an example, right? She works for Big Pharma. She, like I brought up earlier, has knee pain, but she's skeptical to holistic medicine. So the more studies we can have, even for the work that you do, Derek, because the thing that people get confused on when I say studies, they think scientific,
Yeah.
control group. You don't have to do that. It can be as simple as a case study of, what was the name of the study? What was the ailment that the patient or the person you're working with? So if it's coaching, right? What were they dealing with? Then, what did you utilize to help them? What were the results? What are your final thoughts? Bam, that's all you need. So
Hmm.
it doesn't have to be this crazy comprehensive study that a lot of people think it does, right? It really can be as simple as what was the ailment? How did you help them? What were the results? What are your final thoughts?
Yeah.
Because that goes a long way. I remember I did an interview with a guy in Africa, and he asked, or he said, the number one thing I care about, and he doesn't live in Africa, he lives in North Carolina, but the interviewer he's from Nigeria originally, moved to UK. And by the way, if anybody has a book, he can help you. He publishes books and gets the number one sellers. But anyway, so the guy mentioned that the number one thing I care about is studies. It's information to validate the effectiveness of the work you do. So I'm keen from providers is post your studies
Hmm.
because we're using Noster, and most people never heard of Noster. It's very novel and new. Noster is a blockchain Bitcoin adjacent platform. It works on relay networks where you control the keys of your information, so only you can take down your information. And it published to 4 different relays, so it's very very hard to take down. And what that does is that I can say, okay, I helped this patient with X ailment, and I can validate that with this study, and you can't take it down, and you could find it on Nostr on our Nostr account. So I think out of everything that we do, that's the number one thing right now. And honestly, we'll go as far as doing documentaries. We did a documentary with PTSD. We had a woman in Panama, and we had this guy that was a former Israeli soldier, and they flew him out, and they flew me out as well. And I recorded the entire documentary. It was a 5-day documentary. He did a myriad of psychedelic medicine and plant medicine, and he mentioned at the end of it that when he did Bufo, it changed his life. It changed his entire outlook on life and on the programming. Because, not to get too political or not to get too deep on the Israeli Palestine, but the way that I view this situation is similar to how blacks and whites were in the 50s, where there just was this overwhelming political climate that they hated each other when they really didn't have any reason to. And there's a myriad of reasons why, but that's kind of what it is with Israelis and Palestine, is that they are brothers and sisters, but they don't like each other because of political climate and a lot of programming. So I think that's one benefit as well of that documentary, is that we were able to get him to change his perspective, and he actually apologized to Palestine and called for the end of the war. So that would be the number one thing I would say is getting on the platform so you can post your studies. The other thing is that we have a documentary, and this is for anyone, patients, people that are looking to lose weight, people that just want to learn more about holistic medicine. We have a summit. It's an online summit. It's going to be live on Zoom. I think we'll dual cast it to either YouTube or LinkedIn. I'll know by December 1st the exact time, and it will post the highlights on my homepage at decentmed.org. And I'll also on December 1st, I'll post the link as well as the flyer on our homepage, because right now the homepage has like an intro video. We'll replace that, and then the full recording will be on Patreon.
Okay. Well, definitely give me the information. We'll post it on my site here too, so everyone
Yeah,
can have it.
definitely, I will. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So, yeah, this has been really great, really helpful. Is there anything that you didn't get to share that you want to share?
I would say number one, that if anyone has any questions about holistic medicine, or maybe they've been burned by the traditional medicine, because I know a lot of people of color have been burned by traditional medicine, and I know that because of COVID, a lot of people in general have been burned by holistic medicine. Or not, I'm sorry, I said that wrong. A lot of people have been burned by traditional allopathic medicine. So give it a try. It's not woo woo. It's complete. There we have studies in PubMed. We post studies all the time. Just give the website a try. Give holistic medicine a try, because you really can change your life with this type of service and with this type of platform. So that would be number one. Number two is, if you're a provider, if you're a coach, join the summit and connect with other providers, because I think that's the biggest issue with non-allopathic medicine, is that providers don't connect with one another. They don't talk to one another. They're not friendly with one another. Allopathic medicine, they are friends with one another. They refer each other. If I sprain my ankle, and a pediatrician is going to refer me to a great doctor that helps with ankles, or a podiatrist, or not a podiatrist, but an ankle doctor, right? Or they're going to refer a gynecologist. They refer each other. But holistic medicine doesn't do that. Kind of know acupuncturists and they don't know hypnotherapists. Well, the reality is, if you're a chiropractor and you can refer acupuncture, it's better than saying, no, we're just going to do everything in house and we're going to do acupuncture here, nutrition here. And, don't do that. For
Mm.
allopathic, or for non-allopathic medicine to reach where I want it to, which is to be on the same level as allopathic medicine, you have to work with one another. You have to talk to one another. You have to refer to each other, because we can change the world, and you guys can really make a difference by connecting with one another and becoming each other's friends and referral partner. So I would say that's the biggest thing from a provider. And from a patient, give the website a try. We have providers in the UK. Where are you located, Derek?
I'm in Los Angeles.
We have providers in the UK. If we can get Derek to join, we'll have providers in LA. We're actively looking to get providers all around the US. We have a chiropractor in Arizona, a chiropractor in Overland Park, Kansas. We have a chiropractor in St. Louis, or St. Charles to be specific. We have a functional medicine doctor that is in Boynton Beach, Florida. We have a hypnotherapist in Tampa, Florida. We have an acupuncturist in Tampa, Florida. We have a chiropractor in Scottsdale, Arizona, like I mentioned. We have health coaches. One is in Clermont, Florida, that helps women that are in traditional medicine with burnout. We have a mindset coach that is in Kenya. We also have a homeopath that's in Nigeria. We
Oh,
have another homeopath that's in South Africa. We have a breathwork coach that's in Austria. We have a traditional wellness coach that is in the UK, but they help with people around the world. We have Lori Graham, our nutritionist, that is in Connecticut. We have our nutrigenomic coach that is in Vermont. We have an Ayurvedic practitioner that is in Dearborn, Michigan. So I say all that to say, and if I missed you, I apologize for any providers that I missed. But I say all that to say that we have providers all around the world We are actively looking to get more providers in Argentina and in South America. We just onboarded 2 providers in Canada. So we have providers everywhere, and we're only going to grow bigger, and we're only going to have more providers. So if you're in any of those areas, definitely reach out. And if not, a lot of those providers are remote and can help you all around the world.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing all this today. And you've opened my eyes to some things, and I think you've opened your my audience's eyes as well. So I'm so glad that we had you on to talk.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for
Yeah.
having me.
Yeah, any final words before we sign off?
Give your health a try and visit decentmed.org.
That's perfect. That's perfect. Thanks everybody for watching. If you like what Sam said, then check out the DecentMed. We're gonna have him leave links in the comments here, so you
Yep.
can go right to the website and check out all his stuff. Also, if you like what we're doing here in Nourish, and Thrive, just comment interview, and we'll highlight you, we'll spotlight you, we'll share your gift, like Sam said, that, as holistic practitioners, we need to help each other and
Yep.
network with each other. So that's what we like to do here in Nourish and Thrive. And if you need support, we're here for that too. So
Thank
thanks,
you.
everyone, and we'll see you at the next one.